hard pivot then to to the music newsletter
Yeah.
by the name of Hamnawa, जिसके बारे में हमने बात करनी थी, but like I'm very fascinated about this Urdu thing. I didn't expect it to be such a deep well of information, I guess is the way to say it. But what is the एकदम से किसी ने मुझे भेजा कि oh bro, ये newsletter है. And they sent it to me after my Manu episode where you had mentioned that oh, Manu. I was
Yeah.
like, somebody quoted me. That's all I focused on for a while.
Uh,
But then I was like, acha, ek newsletter bhi hai.
uh.
Like this is the thing. What is it and why did you do it? Not
So
the
let's start with
quotation.
your Manu interview.
Acha.
I think, as you know from being in this world,
Hmm.
is that there's very little primary information for people that are not like in the middle of the scene to understand what is happening, right? And so if you were to writing about this from a academic standpoint or any journalistic standpoint, कुछ भी नहीं, आपको कुछ पता ही नहीं होता क्या हो रहा है. Like you have no understanding of what people's motivations are, what they are trying to say. In fact, some of the work that you do is critical, right? Like the sort of interviews that you do, learning about, like for me, I didn't know much about Manu's motivation or his journey before I heard you talking about him. So for me, it made a lot more sense to slightly connect it together. So I think, a lot of the work that you're doing with this sort of thing, with this podcast is similar, right? So that's the underlying motivation, which is, okay, can we start writing about songs in a way that is like descriptive, it's exploratory, that tells something of a story about the culture in a way that you can look back at it in 5 years and make sense of what was happening. So, I started writing about Pakistani music, over a decade ago. And that was for me the goal then, which is, okay, can we start documenting this in some way? So I've done it on and off for a while, for many years. And then I think a couple of years ago, the goal was, okay, can we make it more regular? Like, can I find a way of saying more things about more songs? Because I fell into a trap where I was like writing really long pieces about a few songs, and then eventually too much was happening that I was missing. So the goal was, okay, can I start like basically mapping out the scene for myself and for other people in a way that you can start framing everything that is happening in a larger context. So, Desi hip hop is like an interesting, way of talking about this, which is for people like us that left 15 years ago, but even for people in Pakistan now, understanding the local rap scene, if you have no idea about it, is like it's very difficult to figure out what happened, how it happened, kya ho raha hai, kaise, what are the structures. And then, once you get into it, you can get into it. But I think it says a lot about overall what is happening in the culture. Why are people joining the scene? Why is this appealing to people? What are they saying? What does this say about the audience from many standpoints? Like, what are these people's problems? What are they interested in? What songs catch on? What songs don't? What artistic narratives are continuing through? So for me, that's where it came from. So the way that I do it now is that I like pick songs that I like, and I will try to describe some context around them that makes it easier to understand what is happening, and makes you maybe understand and connect with the song a little bit more. And then I will like collect the songs that I like into playlists just so that it's easy to follow what's happening.
So how long have you been doing this?
Hamnawa now for 2 years. Like I've been writing about music for a long time, but Hamnawa in this form about 2 years.
Right. Where were you writing about music prior?
Blogs.
Acha, blogs. See, because the thing is that your name is not a common name, Zeerak. And I feel like, pata nahi kyun, like I might have come across something, because when the first time I saw the name, I was like, yaar, it's not like, oh, I haven't heard this name before. It's like, Zeerak bhi ek naam hota. I know nobody. I've never met a Zeerak in my life. So, ho sakta hai ke, I came across something previously. But khair, the thing that I was wondering was, 2 years is not a huge amount of time in terms of Pakistan ki music ki history. But were this to continue, it would be possible to properly map, and music keeps continuing in Pakistan because sometimes music also just stops. It would be possible to map out these movements, of like the hip hop thing that's happening right now, where you said that it's weird with hip hop where the Gen Z and younger kids जिनके ज़माने में आया है, they're fully into it. And उनसे ऊपर nobody knows ये क्या हुआ, कैसे हुआ, why is this a thing? Asad Ahmed goes on Qazi's thing and he says कि होना ही नहीं चाहिए. Did you see that? That was hilarious. Asad Ahmed, much respect, but he's like, यार हमें करना ही नहीं चाहिए. This is like a African American movement और हमने क्यों कर लिया? I was like, that's a very अच्छा, but rock music कौन सा मतलब